Alright, class. Everybody knows who Hercules was, correct? Yes. Alright. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure you've all seen the movie from Disney, and it is completely wrong. Here is a video showing why. Alright, here is showing some of his 12 trials. Showing some of his trials. Did anybody recognize anything that they've learned from watching him in the past? Or anything about him? Aaron, did you notice anything?
Yeah, I just went through his entire life, essentially. All that we know about the Greek hero, I just went through that in one video.
Anybody else?
The three-headed dog. Service.
He likes to fight a lot.
Alright, so we're going to start off with his life in the beginning. He was born from the unfaithfulness of Zeus because I think we all know that the gods like to cheat on their husband and wife and come to Earth dressed as old men, women. I mean, they like to just sleep around, basically. And Hera, who was Zeus's wife at the time, did not like this because she tried to take revenge on Hercules because she thought it was his fault that he was born, which, I mean, really wasn't. So, to do this, she put 2 snakes in his bed, and Hercules, being a demigod, had super strength and completely strangled him, which did not really work out in her favor. So, she was angry after that, and she just made his life miserable from there on. And you can see that when he had come of age, he'd already proved himself to have heroic strength. However, she made him so crazy that he killed his own children who, like, were dressed up as evil demons for some odd reason. And he killed them out of, I mean, just anger and being scared. To atone for this crime, he was sentenced to perform a series of labors. And we will learn about this in a second. Alright, his first labor. The Nemean lion. The lion was not an ordinary lion. It had superhuman strength. Its fur was like armor. His teeth were like metal. There was no real possible way to kill him, and for this being his first labor, he had to somehow find a way. He blocked off the entrance to the lion's cave, crawled in, and I mean, he just fought him face to face and basically beat him up. He throttled it to death with his bare hands. That was the only way to kill it because the soft part of his skin was under there. Alright. Afterwards, as you can see in the video, he wore the lion's fur as his armor, basically because it was light but stronger than metal, and jaws as a helmet as a scare tactic for his enemies. Second labor, the Hydra. The Hydra is a multi-headed snake dragon thing. I guess it's really the only way to explain it. And the trick about this is the only way to cut off its head, or to kill it, is to cut off its main head. But it starts out with 3 heads, and every time you destroy it, 2 more come into place. So eventually, it just grew thousands of heads, which we all know in this time it's impossible to do that because there'd be no way that many heads. It's great, but it's not physics. Alright, he sought out the monster in its lair. When he went to go fight it, it twined its many heads around the hero and tried to tear him up. It called on an ally, a huge crab that also lived in the lair. The crab bit Heracles in the heel and further hindered his attack. Iolaus, who had driven Heracles to Lerna in a chariot, looked on and where his uncle became entangled in Hydra's snaky heads. In response, he grabbed a burning torch and dashed into battle. Now, as soon as Heracles cut off one of the Hydra's heads, Iolaus was there with a charred wound with flame. This kept further heads from spouting. Finally, Heracles sliced off the one head that was supposedly immortal and buried it deep beneath the rock to prevent from further regeneration. Third labor. This captures Corinthian hind. Now, this is one of the most under-known of his labors. Does anybody know anything about this, or has anybody heard anything about this? It's a female deer, and the animal had golden horns. It was sacred to Artemis, goddess of the hunt, so Heracles dared not wound it. He hunted it for an entire year before running it down the banks of the river Merida in Arcadia. Taking careful aim with the bow, he fired an arrow between the tendons and bones of the two forelegs, pinning it down without drawing blood. All the same, Artemis was displeased, but Heracles dodged her wrath and blamed his taskmaster, Eurystheus. Alright, fourth labor. And bear in mind, this is all taking place to regain his honor of killing his children, and to try to regain his throne. Alright, fourth labor took Heracles back to Arcadia, and it was to kill an enormous bull who was herding the farmland. While tracking it down, he stopped to visit the centaur, Pholas, and asked him where the boar was. He was not saying a word. Then Pholas was examining the hero's arrow, and when he accidentally dropped it on his foot, because it had been soaked in poisonous hydrovenom, Pholas told Heracles everything. Heracles finally located the boar on Mount Eurymethus and managed to drive it into a snowbank, immobilizing it. Flinging it up onto his shoulders, he carried it back to Eurystheus. Alright, fifth labor. This is the last one we're going to go over today, because sadly we're running out of time. But Eurystheus was very pleased with himself for dreaming up the next labor, which he was sure would humiliate a heroic cousin. Hercules was to clean out the stables of King Aegeus in a single day. Aegeus had huge herds of cattle, which had deposited their manure in such quantity over the years, a thick aroma of just everything you can imagine that came from a cow would just sit there for years. Instead of employing a shovel and a basket, as Eurystheus imagined, Heracles diverted 2 rivers to the stable yard and got the job done without getting dirty. Alright, that is all we're going to do today. I will send you an email of the homework and a short little quiz on the first 5 labors, and tomorrow we'll go over the next ones. And that's it for class.